Man, we were like our family reunions back in the day. They were epic.
Yeah,
we look forward to them.
Yeah,
like I mean, we did it at we from Toledo. We did it at a park called I think it was called Pearson Park in Toledo, right? Every year I knew I was gonna get on the boats. We was going to the little paddle boats. Yeah, we was gonna do that. I knew it was a big deal. It was gonna be some of the best macaroni and cheese I've ever had in my life.
Barbecue.
The barbecue was gonna be on point. Everybody in the family can cook, and we just had like a moment. Like it was to the point where our family used to be so big that everybody and their mamas, like friends of the family, it would be so many people show up. And it just like once with the elders, once they started passing away, it's just like it started dissipating.
Exactly.
It's so unfortunate because I long for that connection and that feeling when we have family reunions.
Absolutely.
My cousins and I, we just recently, within the past 2 years or so, we decided that we would create events. We was like, let's just start with the cousins.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like we can't get all of the aunts and the great aunts.
Right,
start with each other.
Amy and them did that.
Because we have been doing a horrible job.
Yeah.
Like the way, like my cousins, we looked at each other like siblings.
Right.
We were so close.
We were the same way.
Living with us when we go home, like you staying with your grandma. All the cousins are in grandma's house.
Everybody's there.
We have failed horribly.
Man, it is horrible.
Our kids just don't have the connection with their cousins that way. And
our kids have even said that to us.
Yeah, our
kids. Yeah, they said that.
Is it a lack of the torch being passed? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I moved away,
and that's the thing. A lot of us moved away.
And my mom did too.
A lot of us no longer. Yeah, everybody moved.
But
you know
still,
what I'm saying?
Because y'all had about 5 or 6 great cousins. I'm like, all of them look like Brian. It was some picture you and I'm like, dang,
the DNA is strong over there.
Yeah, man, it's a lot more family, but everybody's so spread out now. But unfortunately, a lot of times, a lot of that spread comes from disagreement within family.
Absolutely,
people fall out. Secrets, all of that. You know what I'm saying?
For me, I think we moved to Georgia in 1980. My mom moved in 88. I came down in 89. And when we came down, all of my family they were in New York. So, I know my cousin Trima. We have the strongest relationship. I built my cousin Kamal, Rashard, my cousin David, rest in peace. We all were tight up until it was time for me to move, and then we would rekindle on the summers.
Every year. That was the most epic summers.
But I remember when my grandfather was alive, we would go to Virginia to see his brother, my Uncle Johnny. And when we would go there, it was like a big deal. It was like a road trip.
Yeah, man.
I had the opportunity to experience one.
Wow.
After that, and we moved down here, it was like it dissipated. And then, my mom had 3 brothers. All of them passed. All of my uncles are gone. Right?
Wow, yeah.
My aunt passed. So now it's just my mom and her sister, who her and her husband are the matriarch and patriarch of the family now.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's like, man, things happen, distance. Yeah. And it's like, man, the cousins, we stay in touch and different things like that, but the cousins have kids now.
Yeah. Right. That's right. That's what happens.
We try to do our best to try and build, like Trima, like we're supposed to be going to New York for Thanksgiving. We're working on that for her birthday and different things like that. Like,
that's gonna be dope.
You know what I'm saying? But we're trying to keep it together. It's just it's not it's a struggle now. It's not as organic as it was back in the day.
Well, one, the cost of living is crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like, what the biggest frustration for me on my side of the family is they keep trying to move it to different states. So we're getting away from what made the family reunion the family reunion. We're from Ohio. It's mostly Ohio people there. Why do we not just do it in Ohio?
Yeah.
So when they start going to North Carolina, they start going to all these different states, it's like it don't feel the same.
Everybody's situation ain't adding up.
Exactly. And you're expecting all these people one and I don't know everybody's financial situation in terms of my cousins. But I know a couple my favorite cousins, I know they got a gang of kids.
Right.
Like a gang of kids.
Yeah.
So I could imagine them trying to pack up all of the kids between the 2 or 3 of them, trying to pack all of those up and move them all the way to another state. Like, that's not fair to them.
It's because family reunions used to be easy, man.
They did.
Like, we used to just go to parks.
Yeah.
Everybody lived in the same state.
barbecue.
Absolutely.
Everybody lived around the corner, down the street.
Now we trying to plan activities and listen. We don't got to do all of that.
Well, I think COVID messed it up too for my family.
But her family was doing it.
They do it every year. Yeah, they
4th
do
of July weekend.
4th of July, whatever that
got
4th
big
of July. And the more is like my grandfather's side of the family. They do it, and they do it big. It's a whole weekend, a whole week or several weeks, because they do bowling, skating, the t-shirts. It's a whole thing. They do a adult night, all kind of stuff.
But they have it set up where everything is the same every single year.
It's the same every year. But then COVID happened, and then people, a lot of the people that do the planning and stuff are older. They're older, and COVID was scary, and a lot of people passed away during COVID. So now, I wish I took my kids away. I left and never looked back. I was young. I didn't really care about
Monty
family.
and Jay never really.
They were but Andrew knows the family.
Oh, he knows them very well.
He knows them, but like Andrew and Monty, they don't know. They don't know. And they mad at me because they're like, we got all these cousins and you didn't tell me. I'm like, yeah, I got cousins on top of
Cousins are
cousins.
big.
Our kids right now.
Yeah.
They looking at pictures and they seeing all these people who look like us.
Yeah.
They haven't met. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's just super important that even this summer, we're going to be intentional about, we haven't planned a family reunion, but we're going to be intentional about visiting each other.
Yeah.
Making sure those little cousins come down here.
Yeah.
They write songs. They sing.
That's
they
it
do all
though.
kind of stuff.
That's it. It's like make it intentional.
Right.
This year we're going to see this, and what happens is you got my side of the family, then you have her side of the family.
Absolutely.
So it's like, all right, well, we were there last year. How many times we gonna go see Karen?
Right.
How many times we gonna go see?
Let's go see this.
You know what I'm
Let's go see
saying?
another side of
So
the family,
I try to accommodate both, but at home, if we're trying to be intentional about doing it at home. So like, Precious is the eldest cousin. So we're pouring into her.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
See, that's what I'm talking about. The torch being passed.
And you got to be intentional about the torch passing.
Sir.
Yeah,
So-
they ain't gonna care.
Right. So I have the conversation with Precious about, hey, listen, Uncle Auntie Constance ain't gonna always be here. Granddad ain't gonna always be here. We're having those conversations now. So like, I think we started the tradition of, hey, we put the fire pit in the back. All the cousins come around and we all talk. We all create that. And I'm real big on paying homage. So it's like, all right, Mr. J, no, you don't sit right here. Constance's father. It's like, no, you sit right here. Pour into them.
Wow.
Because that's what I needed. I miss my grandfather.
That's
when he
different,
passed.
man.
I mean, that was my road dog.
And I didn't even have grandfathers growing up.
You see what I'm saying?
I didn't even know even the concept of that.
Anthony's dad, I didn't
Matriarchs
really
and
know him.
patriarchs.
When I saw him, I think he tried to give me some Parmesan. But I was like, wait, what is that?
Wait, who?
Oh
That's what
man.
he knew his bio.
My biological,
Yeah.
the grandfather. So, but
Okay.
Put a little hair on your chest.
right, yeah. You too light skinned. Make sure you
Too light.
Make it so your nuts will drop. But my grandfather, man. Me and him, we would wake up every morning watching Dukes of Hazzards.
Yeah, man.
He taught me how to make a number 8 because I was doing it circle. He's like, no, S and then a backwards S. And I remember that. I vividly remember that. So when he passed, a lot of my family blamed my mom because she took me away.
I just
And he died
realized-
calling my name.
I just realized how close they
Wait,
were.
man. Wow,
That was
bro.
that
Me and
he
my
was
grandmother was the
everything.
same way.
Bro.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
we were the same way.
Yeah.
That's major, bro. What you just said.
Which one?
Yeah.
You said he passed calling your name.
Right. Yeah.
Because he had diabetes.
A couple weeks
So his leg
ago,
was
realized
amputated.
how deep
So
it
a
was.
lot of time, and it's crazy because I have this. It's like the enemy plays with me in a major way concerning this, and I'm over it, but I still fight not thinking about it. In his latter years, and my latter years living in New York, his leg had got amputated. And he was in the room, and I think my grandmother went somewhere, so it was just me and him, and I wanted to go outside. No, his leg wasn't amputated, but he was starting to feel the remnants of it needing to be amputated.
Man.
So, Grandpa, I want to go outside. And no, I don't feel I can't. Grandpa, Papa, you'll never let me do nothing. I was a kid.
Oh yeah, bro.
I'm like 5.
Yes, sir.
You know, and
you're a
I'm
kid.
going in,
You're a
I'm
kid.
going in. But it as an adult, it bothers me because he died when that was my road dog, man.
Yeah, man.
Arthur David Adams, man.
Wow.
He was a man's man. He was a cop. You know, he used to throw all the criminals in the paddy wagon, and everybody knew him.
Wow.
Plus, he ran numbers too. You know what I'm saying? So he was one of those dudes. But I remember the intricate details. Him teaching me how to make an 8. Him teaching me. I thought supper was sausage. This is a crazy story. So he's like, "You want some supper?" I'm like, Yeah, I want supper. In my 4-year-old mind, supper meant sausage. So when he put supper on the table, I'm like, what is this? And he's like, supper. I'm like, just supper? Where's the supper?
Right.
He's like, that is the supper. And it was the craziest thing because once he explained it to me, we laughed, but the type of laughter that we had in that moment was that as if I was a comprehend, a cognitive adult.
Yeah.
So man, I just remember that, man. I miss him so much, man.
Yeah,
That's
man.
real, man.
Yeah.
That's
You know,
real.
it's funny because you bring up those memories, and I remember the memories I had with my grandfather. Just the fact that he was the one who would always bring the family together.
Is this
You
your
know what I'm
mom's dad,
saying?
your dad's
So this is my
dad?
dad's dad.
Gotcha.
So on his side, he would bring the family together, and they used to call them family meetings.
Right.
Like y'all call them, you know what I'm saying? But at that time, we didn't look at them. We didn't really understand. I don't know what kind of meeting we thought it was. I guess we thought it was a business meeting. But really, it was just him bringing. They used to come together. They used to have cigars. They used to, had a brandy. But my
Right.
grandfather, anytime we was together, he would always go to KFC. It never failed. And he would always make it seem like it was a secret. All right, now I'll be back. Say,
Like he finna go to KFC.
yeah. Papa going to KFC?
Right.
But it never failed.
You remember what he used to
He
get?
would come back with that big bucket of chicken, man.
Absolutely.
And,
Yeah.
the mashed potatoes, the bucket of chicken, the
family meal.
Yeah, the family meal. And back then, KFC was banging.
Oh, yeah.
Different, you know what I'm saying?
It was like a delicacy
It was
back then.
Absolutely.
definitely different,
Yeah,
man.
I
But
love
he
KFC. I still
always,
like
man,
KFC.
anytime he went out that door, he would come back with KFC, man. And that was just an amazing memory, man. And those are the small things
It ain't got to be big.
It don't have
It
to
ain't
be
got to be
big.
Six Flags.
It don't.
Right.
It don't
It ain't
have to
got to be
Six
that.
Flags.
But-
Nowadays, I feel like it
Disney
do.
World. It don't have to be. And I think now with grandparents, they probably are trying to keep up with the activity and the excitement that the grandchildren enjoy. But you bring the balance. You bring the balance of just sitting down beside me. Yeah, it feel boring, but you'll never forget this moment. We used
Right.
to sit by my granddad. He used to smoke cigarettes and drink beer. And he used to eat lard sandwiches, which is disgusting.
What?
He used to put the lard, the grease that turns
Gee.
white,
Yeah.
crystal when it turns
Hey,
white.
that's
No
that.
lard.
He used to scrape
That's
it
that
and
what?
put it on bread.
I was gonna say
He was
slave
a
thing.
military vet.
I don't know.
Military
Brian's
vet.
talking about that's that slave thing. That's what the
Right,
slaves
that's
used to do.
different.
It was different, but like it's just like the banana
And after
sausage,
he
the
came out of
sausage and the
army, he
king.
would just
Yeah, but that's
all
hard.
he did. He would sit
Wow.
on the couch.
fried
You said it's
chicken.
what?
He watched soap operas
Vienna
with my
sausage.
grandma.
The
He'll
sausage
watch-
and the
he just
can?
literally
Like the
sits
potted meat?
stationary
Yeah.
I used to
on
eat
the
that with my
sofa.
grandmother.
And I remember he had a dog, and we would always see this dog every family reunion when we went to Fayetteville, North Carolina. His name was Gigi. My grandma, my granddad passed, and we remember this story. All the cousins say it. Shortly after my granddad passed, we always say because Gigi was his best friend.
Oh man.
We say Gigi committed suicide because granddad was gone. Because he literally, now Gigi, you let the dog out the door, this is what he does. You know
Wait,
what
I'm sorry. Gigi is
The dog.
He's a
Yeah,
poodle.
Gigi's the
Yes,
dog.
Gigi's a
Sheesh.
poodle. So, but he stayed next to granddad.
Wow.
I
But
could believe
shortly after granddad passed,
It was a wrap.
Gigi, he intentionally ran into the street, got hit by a car. We was
Wow.
like- well, the family was devastated because he was the family dog. But those are like the memories. Those are the
Yeah.
memories that you remember when you all come home.
Yeah.
Our cousins, we would play church in the basement. Like I don't
Play
know.
church.
We would play singing the songs. Like everybody had an instrument. My brother was the preacher. My cousin played the church. I was in the
Man.
choir. That's how we grew up.
That's all right.
We grew up in church. So this
That's
is what
all right.
we did for fun, and we would just sing songs. So even when we get together now, anybody can crank up the song, and it immediately is nostalgic
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's the memories.
Those memories,
and
man.
I really. My kids have very few, and I hate that they don't have a Rolodex.
but
of
I don't think they have very
I think we underestimate
Yeah.
the memories.
Yeah, their
we've
memories
given
are
our
different.
children.
Or by the
You know
time
what
we
I'm
see
saying?
the fruit of them remembering
Right.
it,
Yeah,
we'll
man.
be gone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Because they have memories,
You know what I'm
man.
saying?
Their memories just different from ours. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, they're totally
because their
different.
lives are different. But
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
Well,
come on,
we
man.
didn't
All
have
those-
technology back in the day.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
So that right there is a big
had to spend
determinant
time
factor.
with each other.
Right.
And
And going
that's a big
outside
thing.
was real. Like going
Yeah.
outside for us was everything.
Man.
So, you know, the way we were brought up, the way they were brought up is two totally different things. But it's like their memories, it translates the same way.
That's it.
They
It's
translate
just
the
a
exact
different-
same way.
It's just a
That's
different
true.
translation.
It's just a different way.
They still
Yeah.
there.
Those
You know what I'm saying?
those memories, those what do you call it? Nostalgic.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
man.
I'm in the ice cream business as a result of Wes.
Childhood memory, yeah.
My driver's name was Wes, right? Wes was the Mr. Softee guy that had my neighborhood in New York. So when I moved here and seen all of these vans out here, I'm like,
Yeah, it's different.
what the heck is this? That's not ice cream. They don't have a Mr. Softy? You know what I'm saying?
They
So
being lazy.
when I finally saw a truck, but it was like red and white and not blue and white, I'm like,
Right.
what's this, a knockoff Mr. Softy? And I saw it and ka-ching. So that business and that, it was part of my destiny even back then. But like Scully, did y'all play Scully? When you put like the soft now laters inside the tops of the little jug juices, and you use the cap and you slide it, and it got to slide into a box. And if it slide in a box, you got to jump and hopscotch it.
Nah, that sounds complicated.
It was called Scully,
what?
but we would be outside doing that, taking
New York,
fireworks,
though. That's
taking the
New York.
gunpowder out, taking the gunpowder out of the firecrackers, and
And doing what with it?
just putting it in stuff, just doing kid stuff.
The fun stuff, man.
That was in New York. In
yeah.
Georgia is we finna catch some frogs. We finna go.
Yeah.
We
Play in
finna
the
the honeysickle
dirt.
trees.
Yeah, the honeysuckles, yep.
Remember the honeysuckle
Yep, sure
trees?
enough.
Man, we'll grab the honeysuckle trees. Man, we'll eat
Yeah,
them,
yeah,
all,
yeah.
All day long, yeah.
The fireflies.
Yep. Caught 'em in
in the
jars.
summer.
Jars, yeah, we did
These
that.
kids ain't doing that no more.
But see, we did stuff like
The
when I,
lightning bug.
Yeah,
Right, that's what we did. That's it.
That's a firefly, yeah.
Savoring it in the mason jar and poking holes so it can breathe.
Right.
yeah, we did stuff like we were daredevils.
Yeah.
Like it was nothing. It was nothing that we were afraid of back in the
Yeah.
day.
Right.
I'll never forget. We used to have, and this sounds crazy now, just thinking about it. You know, we used to live in apartments. So when we lived in the Oaks, we lived in these apartments called the Oaks back in the day. They gone now. But, you know, everybody throw out their mattresses. Back in the day, they'd throw their mattresses out by the... So we would climb on the dumpsters and literally backflip
Yes, sir.
onto those dirty
Yes, sir.
mattresses.
Yes, sir.
I learned how to backflip on those mattresses, but now I'm sitting there thinking, as a kid, those mattresses
man.
was probably
Yeah, man.
pissy. They had all type of stuff going on.
They threw them out for a reason.
If a mattress is by a dumpster, it's there for
And
a
we
reason.
like, oh, here. Man, we
another
flipping,
one.
man. We flipping off. Look, it's 3 mattresses piled on top of each other. We flipping off the
Crazy.
mattresses. We going in. And it's like, if I see my kid doing that to this day, we going to get tetanus shots. We, you know, but it was nothing wrong with us.
That doggone
We
mattress.
still here.
Yeah, man.
We are healthy.
That's what made us different, man. I remember
Yeah.
we used to we called it going on an adventure. We would go to one side of the block,
Right.
and we would go in on the backyard and jump fences all the way down the street.
Yeah.
Just through people's yards. We running from
Dogs. It was
Yeah.
so fun.
We jumping rusty fences.
Oh my
We
God,
cutting our
man!
leg on-
Right,
on
bloody,
cars and-
right,
That's
all of that.
funny.
We had so much fun doing that.
I had a 10-speed that didn't have brakes, and you know we have alleys in the Midwest.
Oh my
I'm
God.
riding in the alley, going
Flying.
flying. Couldn't stop. I'm like, oh my God! Ran into somebody's car.
Boom.
Ran into somebody's car. Broke the mirror off.
Oh, you hit
broke the
hard.
mirror off. Got back on.
Keep it moving.
Yeah, keep moving.
Bump that mirror.
Everybody saw me. Everybody in the neighborhood.
Care
But
about that
I
mirror.
think, and then I like when we were kids, like we played outside, so you would get in a fight. Me and you would fall
We
out.
fought all the time.
We'll fall out, but we
that's
would
a
be
good one.
friends by the end of the
Do
day.
you remember your first fight?
Yeah, I was 5.
yeah, big time.
I lived on Post Road on 38th and Post Road. It was called Crystal Tree, and I remember my first fight.
I'm talking about your first real fight.
That was
No,
my
I
first
remember
real
my first
fight.
fight.
Because you getting a couple of
No,
scuffles.
that wasn't a scuffle.
Real
It
fight.
was a fight. It was a-
Nah, we fought.
Tell us about it. Tell us about it.
It was a fight. It was a girl. So back in the day, we were so unsupervised, man.
Yes, we were.
We were so unsupervised. So
Well, you could have been at that time.
yeah, so we was outside, and I remember I had a big wheel. I had a Miss Pac-Man big wheel.
My goodness.
Oh,
Wow.
And it was an older kid. I don't even remember the
All the
person.
good stuff, man.
I had a Miss back then, and it was fly too because everybody wanted to ride my big wheel.
Right.
And I was outside, and the kid, it was okay. So maybe if I'm 5, I'm in kindergarten.
Okay.
Maybe a 2nd grader, 3rd grader.
Okay.
Try to take my big wheel. I went home crying, and my mother said, "If you don't get the out of here and go get your big wheel," like, because I'm crying because the kid took my big wheel. So at this time, you know, I only knew to do what my mama told me to do.
Right.
So
Go get my big wheel.
I went and got my big wheel, and she riding around and like skidding. You know how you skid?
Listen.
Oh, she's stunning on you.
Yeah.
She's stunning on you.
she having fun on your
She's
big
stunning
wheel.
on your
Having
big
fun,
wheel.
but
remember
she
the
took it
skid,
in
though.
front of the whole neighbor, like it was kids outside. And I wonder, do my friend Alicia or LaShonda, shout out to y'all, do y'all remember? But I had to go, so I think LaShonda was hyping me up, like, and I'm like practicing on her on her thing.
Right.
But she's like in the thing, and she's like skidding and doing all this stuff. I remember I tore her up. Like that was my first fight. I tore
was the
her
first
up,
one.
and then after that,
Did she see it coming?
no, 'cause she scared. I didn't say nothing. I just went pop, girl, just windmilling. Got my bike back.
That was
That's
what
right.
was special about us being outside.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Outside cut our
Confrontation.
teeth, man. Because
Yeah. It showed you how to
we
confront.
we understood how to get down, handle business, how
Absolutely.
to get over it.
Oh,
You know
man.
what I'm saying? It made us tougher,
Oh, man.
man.
Say it
again.
We out here.
You know how to resolve
You
conflict?
learn how to
We know how to
resolve
resolve
conflict
conflict.
outside.
Yeah, we were friends. Like we would
and it
come back to
didn't-
being friends after that.
Right.
And the thing is, the fight didn't live forever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Wasn't
After a week, you forgot that we
we
were
back- we
even.
back cool
We back
again.
playing at the park because it was parks with the metal merry-go-round and the metal be burning your legs. We used to, my mom be like, "Don't run in and out the house, so you drink from the hose. You drink from the." We did so much.
Because if you go in the house, you got to stay in the house.
Hey,
Right.
You come in the house, that house
That
one more
was a
time, you got to
punishment.
stay in the house.
Stay in the
Now we
house.
gone till the street lights came on.
Yeah, and
You
then
asked your friend to
you
use the
trying to
bathroom.
race. You trying to race the street lights home.
Outside was
So
our
yeah,
bathroom.
so when I moved from there, I moved to another neighborhood, and I remember we dissected a dead possum. We was like playing with it with a stick.
See?
I mean, it was
Crazy.
It was crazy.
That's something if your parents was saw, they'd be like,
What are you doing?
your butt in the
But it was
dog.
a dead
take a bath.
possum.
Right,
But we were like.
For earthworms, but
Yeah,
not no possum.
no, it was a possum. We collected crawdads. I don't know in
What's
the
that?
creek. They are the things that people suck the head off of.
Oh, you talking about
crawfish.
They call them we call them crawdads.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
what?
crawdads.
Okay.
And like in the creek and stuff, like we did. Like I was outside. Like I played
Our
outside.
childhood was crazy.
And I had a really now that I'm looking back, I had a really good. We had Chester the molester. Stay
Everybody,
away.
I think that was like in every state. Every
Right,
state had a
Chester
Chester molester. That's crazy. I'm trying to figure out where that came from. We need to research
I
that.
saved one of my friends from being molested. Literally.
Wow.
Saved him.
Oh, yeah,
him.
yeah.
Man, I promise you, it was one of the craziest things living in those apartments.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend was, he was so irritating. And he used to do things that were just completely inappropriate. So we were walking, we was outside playing. And it was a guy, and I don't think he was in his right mind. So it was a guy, he was just outside. He was just doing whatever he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
No, he was peeing. So he was outside. He was peeing on. He was outside.
Everybody be outside
behind,
pee, yeah.
listen, the bathroom was outside.
Outside, Pete.
So he was
In New
behind
York,
a
the
dumpster.
building is the house.
Right.
Is the
and
bathroom.
against the building. That's what he was doing.
Yeah.
So he was behind a dumpster. He was up against the building. He was using the bathroom. So my partner walks up, starts teasing him. Ew, he peeing outside. He got his penis out. He doing this. So the dude yoked him up, pinned him up against the wall. And I'm like, and we're young. Like, we 7, 8 years old.
Wow.
So I lived probably from where this happened, I probably lived a little further than this wall. So I ran in the house got my dad and his brother, his big brother,
Right.
who was a boxer,
Yeah.
just so happened to be in the house with my dad.
Nice.
Wow.
So when I said, hey,
Doing some nice.
I said they got you know, such and such, they gonna call his name out. They got, he said, they were like, huh? So my dad runs out, big bro run out, and he was still in the midst of, you know, grabbing on, trying to pull his pants
Oh
down.
man, no, that's a murder charge.
When
right there,
I
man.
say
No sir.
big bro got a hold of him,
Wow.
and I was something I would never ever forget in my life, the way he pounded on that dude.
You had to.
And then called the police, and he was arrested.
Now that's passion.
That was a lot of passion. Like I say, literally, that could have went completely left.
Wow.
Yeah.
Had I not had the sense just to go get
So did
somebody.
the brother get arrested or the
No.
guy?
The guy got arrested.
okay.
Yeah,
It was back in the day.
Back in the day,
the cops
yeah.
listening to you.
Absolutely, they paid attention.
Yeah.
You're right.
Because back then they wasn't doing computers like that. So it's like I gotta type
Yeah, they had to
Right.
write
a whole
down.
report.
They gotta write this
on this
stuff down.
situation.
Right,
So
absolutely.
if I can avoid paperwork,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. Mocha, do you remember your
y'all
first?
remember swings? Like
Yes,
Oh,
and
you
you
would do the snake thing. Do you remember like
The
one
snake
person the flat swings? And one person would get on one, and then another person get on the other one. Y'all lock legs.
I remember that. Yeah.
And it's like a big seesaw.
Right.
That or
Yeah.
you
call that
just
banana
do like
split.
this.
You like 10 feet in the air.
Yeah, it was so scary. Oh, I remember people rapping.
I would wrap it
Oh, yeah.
around. I would wrap it around.
Wrap that swing around.
Wrap the swing around.
When you swing, you try to get your momentum real high, and then you jump.
Right, jump out.
Yes.
That was the thing.
Did y'all do backflips like off the swings? Like
I couldn't backflip.
Do the backflip.
Quan could
I
backflip.
was able to do it, but it was like I had to get up there.
Yeah.
And I remember what
Jay
stopped
was
me.
able to do a lot of stuff.
My head hit the bar one
When
time.
you look at him, you be like, ain't no way.
Oh, I was athletic, man.
Hey, Jay was extremely athletic.
I was an athlete.
He was
all
on the
day.
swim team.
My whole life.
He
I've
get
always
out
been
there with the little
athletic.
speedos on. I'm like, he's not gonna. And he's quick.
Hey,
and then
and
like
the
he would
move be
run.
moving.
But I'm like, I'm gonna beat him in his race. He had this thing where his arms
I
would
ran
go
crazy.
like this.
Right.
And I'm like,
Boy, I was an
this
athlete.
big joker
man.
quick than him.
My whole life.
He would move like he was skinny.
Right.
And I'd be like, hey man, I done seen it all. Hey. It's crazy. But do y'all remember, and this should be every young man's fantasy or childhood memory, chicken fight.
Oh yeah, in the pool.
What was that?
In the pool.
Y'all
Where you
call
put
it
the
something
girl
else.
on your
Some call it something
shoulder
else.
and the other person is on the other person's shoulders and they gotta try and knock the other person.
It's another name for it,
It
but
was- yeah.
we call
it chicken fight.
That's what
we
I thought.
call
Yeah,
it.
chicken fight. Y'all ain't do chicken fight?
In the pool.
We did Marco Polo
Y'all
or
ain't had
something
no
like
pools
that.
like that.
No, we had pool.
Okay, because you be making it seem like
Yeah.
We had fun.
me and Jay about to be like, oh, poor B.
We had fun.
All right.
You know, we got in pools. We wasn't doing all that explorative things like that. You know,
Chicken
yeah.
fight?
I don't know.
Did y'all
bro.
know about chicken fight?
Yeah, I knew. Remember when we went to Disney World with the church? Remember the teens took that trip to Disney World, and what you call it? It wasn't chicken fight. It was the one where you slam the girl.
Nah, he was just trying to dunk. That
in
ain't
the
chicken fight.
pool.
Chicken fight is when you are trying to knock y'all
Yeah,
are
you're trying to-
wrestling
yeah, you wrestling
on
on
someone's
the other person's
shoulders,
shoulder.
and you're trying to knock that person off.
So if you like the girl,
right, you
if
want
you
to
like the girl,
you want to be
your icebreaker is
be a chicken
You
fight?
want to play chicken fight? Get on my shoulders. I'll make sure you don't fall.
that's it.
Man, they get on there, get on your shoulders. You got them legs locked. It's like, I am not going to drop her.
Right.
I am not going to
Gonna
drop
stand
her.
strong in that pool.
You know what
and
I
then
mean?
you get with somebody tall, and they
Right.
start taking you to them deep waters. Oh man,
We getting chicken fight. We ain't going in
Bruh.
there.
yeah, they start taking you to
Hidden
them deep
Woods,
waters.
Hidden Woods pool was like one of the only pools that
Oh, they
had
a great
12
pool.
feet.
Yeah, they had a huge pool.
So we would be up under there swimming like little fish.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
a deep, and it was a big pool.
It was a
and
huge
the
pool.
12-foot part was huge.
Yep.
Man, it was crazy, man. I got
We
so
had
many.
pools everywhere. That's the thing. Most apartments had pools back in the
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
So we didn't have a lot of community pools.
Right.
If like you was fortunate enough to stay in a place where they had a
That
pool,
that was the
you was
community
good. That
pool.
was our pool.
Right.
So if he had a pool, I had a pool.
Right.
That's how it worked. Like
Right.
you know, hey man, I'll be over there, man. We going swim.
We going swim.
That's the way it worked. So like one thing that we never had here in Georgia though, and I don't understand why. But you go to like the Midwest, they got community pools.
Yeah.
But even if you go to certain parts of Atlanta, they got community pools. But when in Clayton County, Henry County, for some reason, it's like they never developed that. But
They
so
got
much
some,
childhood
not as many as
memory-
they should.
Yeah.
Right. But what I'm saying is, like in Henry County, it's no community pools. They're building an aquatic center they've been talking about for the last 5 years.
Yeah,
I was
10 years.
But-
been under construction for a long time.
But you got to understand
Clay
the
County got a
memories.
aquatic center.
Yeah, they do. But they theirs is
It's
by the
monitored.
jail, ain't it?
It's by,
Yeah, by the jail, yeah.
But it's monitored. Yeah.
very monitored.
Right,
And then they just did the new one over the beach.
They
Just
redid-
turned that
Terra
one into
Beach.
it. Like they just did that. So, but what I'm referring to is the memories that was
Yeah.
made from the basketball courts,
Yeah.
from those community pools, from them tennis courts, the Boys and Girls Club.
Jesse Draper.
I grew up at Jesse Draper.
I went because of him.
Jesse Draper's in East Point. So many athletes came out of Jesse Draper.
Holyfield.
Like, I mean, when I say it was one of those things where I probably could right now got memories for life, friends for life. If I run into somebody from Jesse Draper, I would immediately remember them.
Wow.
It's like, but
memories.
those are the things that I wish my kids had.
They don't have
They don't
that.
have that.
They don't have that sense of community
Nope.
Yeah.
at all. Because my kids, I don't care if I bring them to my family reunion, they're gonna be on their phone the whole
Yeah,
time. They
they're
never
gonna sit and
gonna.
be awkward,
They're
they're not
never
gonna
gonna
interact.
interact.
What do we do? Because we're talking about all these great memories, these great times that we had with family.
Solutions.
What do we do to start creating those type of memories that you're talking about?
Yeah.
The Adams talked about what you guys are currently doing, but what are some other things that we can
I was
do?
thinking about that. While Constance was talking, when she was when Aunt was telling the story about how they did things in the backyard, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm like, one, we're here in this room, right? Mm-hmm. How often do our kids interact?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like for real. How often we interact every week. Mm-hmm. But we got all our kids got stuff going on. They doing great things.
Yeah.
They're being taught well, but they don't interact.
It's a little weird, bro, because like my kids can be super excited. Oh, I want to go over my cousin's house. I want to go see my cousins, or we was going out of town to go see Karen, and when we was going out, we was right by one of the cousins' college dorm.
Gotcha.
So it's like, oh my god, girl, I'm down here, oh my god, come downstairs. Came downstairs, come over there across the street to the little pizza spot because we getting some pizza. She gets there, oh my god, hey! They hug. Silence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the next 30
Awkwardness.
minutes.
Yeah.
Both of them
Yeah,
are
yeah,
on
yeah.
their phones.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you guys are weird. I don't
Because
know
you
what
know
that
what
is.
though? I remember like when my cousins, maybe the cousins who we weren't as close to,
Right.
when we would come together, it would take a little warm up time for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
But back then we didn't have phones though.
That's what I was gonna say.
We were forced
That was-
to let's kick it. You know what I'm
Because
saying?
because my daughter's not me. I'm gonna be like, what's your name? What school you go to?
Oh, that
You
ain't-
know, I'm gonna engage. I'm gonna engage at the dang grocery store.
So let's do this then. Let's think about it.
But
Think
my-
about it. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you.
Yeah, but my kids don't do that, and it irritates me to my soul. I'm like, you want a friend? Show yourself friendly.
But Amy, you're an
It is.
extrovert though.
Mine,
Yeah, very much so.
But
Mine's like me.
mine goes inward. I don't know where she goes.
Yeah, she like me. She
I'm
get
like-
it from her.
She told us if she go inward, I don't know where she be going.
What's up? Like, you want a friend?
But
That's a
hold
real
on,
thing.
like
That's
if you
a real
see
thing.
Monty in her element, she's a different person.
But only with
I've
in
seen
her,
her-
but only in her element, and it's very few people that ever have seen Monty in her
I
element.
remember we had a party. Jaden had a party. Was it 16th birthday?
It was
15th.
It was
It was a
14.
birthday. He had
It
a
was his
birthday.
8th grade part. No, he was in high school.
He was in high school.
He was in high school.
He had to be 15 to 16 years old. He had a
16.
party.
I think it was
right?
16.
And I never saw this side of my daughter.
Wow.
She was dancing. She was
was
engaging. She was I don't know where the comfort came from.
Wow.
Because she was getting everybody else, like everybody else was sitting around. She was getting them going. And I'm like, who is this person? So I know she has the capability of doing it. It's just you got to put her in the environment to be able to do
But
it.
I am saying this: if I am in a room, full of people,
You're
full,
not her.
full of people, I know I'm not her, but I am saying, as they talk about they don't have cousins and they're not close to anybody. Like I have cousins, and I'm not close to my cousins at this age. However, if I go back, we know each other. You get what I'm saying? Like we
Right.
talk, we
Yeah.
kick it, yeah.
So we keep talking about a problem.
How do you
let's present a solution. So let me
Show yourself.
let me
Put the phone down.
Well, let me
That's
let me
my
get,
solution.
Let me get to my solution.
Put the phone down.
So I believe that we can do something like that amongst this group. Not just this group, but our families.
Yeah.
So I got nieces, I got nephews, y'all have cousins, nieces, nephews. We should put an event together.
Like a party.
A party.
Yeah.
But everybody got to leave their phone in the car.
I'm with that.
You cannot you cannot bring your phone into this environment. But we gotta have games like y'all did the volleyball.
Yeah.
Had a blast with the volleyball.
It was.
You know, for one of those. You know, Breacher was showing out. Her sister, boyfriend, like they was going in. I'm like, oh wow, this is entertaining.
It was
It
entertaining.
was very entertaining.
It made you wanna get involved.
It definitely
Right.
did,
It
but my
did.
knees wasn't doing it. So,
But we were the tiebreaker. Like, did it?
right.
What was it?
Yeah, we were
was
doing
sitting
that.
out there.
But what I'm saying is, when you
Yeah.
put kids in an environment and you take away the very thing that's causing them to be
handicap.
introverts, the handicap, then it forces them. It puts them in a law of adaptation.
Yeah.
They have to adapt to the situation.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, after about 30, 40 minutes, all of the cousins are going to find their way migrating up to one room and getting away.
But you know
From
what?
us.
No,
Absolutely.
that's a real thing though. But we have to set the
That's
guideline. We have to
Right.
say,
Set an
no,
environment.
this is the expectation for
Yeah.
this day.
Right.
But from 12 to 4,
Right.
this is what it is.
We're going
To
to barbecue.
teach them how to interact.
Right, we're
Yeah.
going to barbecue.
Yeah, we'll have a
We're
great
going to
time.
feed them. It's going to be music playing. There might be some games set out. And I'm not talking about video games. All that stuff got to be put away. We're talking about
interacting games.
And
interacting
you know what?
games.
When we played kickball at Keon's graduation party,
Yeah.
that joint went
Yeah.
ham.
That's
Kickball is
another-
just-
we can do that.
Kickball,
Even
kick
though
crazy.
we weren't playing because I couldn't play, but I was watching. Like,
It was fun to watch.
Really
It's
good.
entertaining.
Yeah.
And there was people who even started off. They was like, I ain't about to play.
I'm about to play no
And next thing you know, they run around
But-
bases.
crazy.
But that's what we do. At my family reunion.
Kickball.
Shorts. Oh, you
Yeah.
want to change clothes? Now you
Right. Oh,
But at
yeah.
my family reunion,
The
we
shoes
do that.
get
We play
taken off there
volleyball and we play
inside.
kickball.
Man.
I love it.
Yeah, at family reunions, we do that.
We
And
should
then,
do
like,
that.
we
We should
also
do that.
So
go swimming.
the family
Yeah.
by choice family reunion.
That's it.
Yeah.
We're going to do our own family reunion.
family reunion,
We're going to
man.
invite
Barbecue.
friends, families.
Yeah,
We're going to
friends,
feed.
But we have to create. You have to create family when you move away
Oh, absolutely.
from your family. I've created family.
Man.
Do you get what I'm saying? So
I know
like,
it
Exactly
is.
what you saying.
so like, I have a created family here in Georgia. I mean, besides Jason's family, but I'm
Absolutely.
talking about my own.
Our own people.
my own people.
They all got kids.
Yeah, they all got
They
kids
would all
around
be
the
invited.
same age. I got a friend named Mika.
That look just like her. Like
That
they
we
could be-
ride or
they could
die.
be- They can literally
Yeah.
be siblings. They look alike. alike.
But she like, so you create little pockets of family,
Yeah.
and you enjoy their company.
Yeah.
I do that.
Yeah.
I think with everybody who's a friend to me, we find ways to make connections. So like, Mocha probably has 4 conversations where I have like literally looped her in. Like, we have a sisters chat. It's me, my sister, her, and her sister.
Gotcha.
That's a sisters chat. Then we have me, her, and Amy. Then we have me, her, and Toya. Then we have me, her, and it's always like I infuse people because for
I'm the
me
same
it's
way.
it's the same thing you're saying. Like that's how I create. I have to
Family.
create a consistent.
Family by
consistency
choice.
for me.
But that's what that is, family
By choice.
But most of it is it had to be that. I looked at Shane's senior night picture when we all took it, and I said, "Doggone! Outside of my mama, my family ain't really represented in this picture."
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My sisters were there. That's a family by choice.
Yeah.
Right.
Constance's family was there. That's a family by choice by way of
marriage.
marriage. Jay, Amy, Jaden was there. That's family by choice. You guys, but it's like when I post that, I wonder how my blood cousins feel.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang, man, I wish Karen could have been here. I wish
Yeah.
Faye could have been here. I wish Wayne,
Trina.
Trima, Kamal, Rashad, Keith. I wish
Yeah.
all of them could have been here because it's like we don't know how much we really, in our mind to survive, we say we don't really need it like that or it's not a big deal. But in those times when you're looking at pictures
pivotal
and
moments.
you're reminiscing on, a lot of who you are came from that.
Yeah.
You're like, dang man, we got to do a better job.
Yeah.
So to fix it, we just try to create family.
Absolutely.
To have that same sense, because it's like, man, I know I could pick up the phone and I could call Keith and talk to him about things, but it's like, man, it's like we're starting from scratch. Or the matriarch of our family, my Aunt Carol, it's not that I don't love her, but we're literally starting from scratch.
Yeah.
And that's
I talked about that last week.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's awkward. It is awkward.
It's a little bit of awkward. So
Because your family became those around you versus
Exactly.
the ones that you grew up with.
Exactly.
And I'm in the same boat, so I understand exactly
what I'm
what you're
saying?
talking about. Yeah.
So it's like, man, with my Aunt Carol, man, she's like the matriarch of my family, but it's like, I called her a few weeks ago and said, Auntie, I love you. I need you to know that I love you, but we got to build. And I want you to know that I'm going to commit to building. I have nothing against you, because it's like, you may seem like, why you don't call me and why you don't do this and why you, I'm like, I don't know. It's no art there.
Right.
Yeah,
There's
no, not
issue.
at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just I don't know you.
It's no
that
familiarity.
People began making up their own scenarios when we're apart. You know what I'm saying? People start making up their own mental scenarios as to why we're not communicating, why we're not as close
Absolutely.
as we were.
Oh
you know
my
what
God.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's
that's what we
tension when
find.
there's no
Big
tension.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
Created tension.
Even like my sister and I, we like talk all the time. Like we were just talking the other day. Like, man, as close as we were with our cousins growing up, like when we look at our lives now, we were like, dang, I would have never imagined that we would not be close as
Man,
adults.
what?
And that cause I mean, you remember
Oh,
being
my
together
gosh.
and having these kind of men, when we get older, we gonna be this, we gonna be that.
Yep.
And then it's like to actually, my cousins that I feel the most close to, or growing up, and to not know their children,
Oh my gosh.
that is just weird to me. You know what I'm saying?
Haven't met kids.
Like have not met
Man,
them.
don't know their
or
kids at all.
Knew them or saw them maybe
Wow.
as babies, and I haven't seen them again. Now they're like, oh, you such and such graduated high school. I'm
That's
like,
crazy.
You missed their whole life.
That's
it's
crazy.
their whole childhood.
Yep.
Right.
That's
Like,
real.
That is bizarre.
That is so real.
To like really look at that, like, okay, we have got to do a better job.
The connection is
This
disconnected.
sucks.
Yeah.
Yes. I got
Because
a
it's a
cousin.
natural connection by blood.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's disconnected by time spent.
And then
You know what
moving
I'm
away.
And that goes
Right.
to say time spent and choice.
Right,
So
yeah.
it's
The
like
choice.
I'm accountable to the choices that I've made of just not going home or just
Yes,
not
yeah, right.
intentionally
Yep.
like
For whatever reason.
For whatever
Right,
reason.
right.
You know,
Because it's dynamics.
Right.
it is.
Yeah.
And then it's like it's been times where I've seen my family members come here, but I've seen them come here on social media.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've seen that too, and I'm like,
And I'm like,
I have to.
all right, well, let it be known then. You feel like Snoop
But
on the social world.
but
Let it be
y'all,
known
see,
then.
I'm,
Y'all don't mess with
I'm
Death
the
Row.
opposite. I'm like, whew, I'm glad they ain't called me. like for real.
And that's horrible.
That is horrible.
Because I felt that too.
I'm okay.
Man,
Look, I'm not
Thank
gonna
God.
lie. I have a really good friend. Her daughter live here. She coming to town. We may see each other.
Right.
We may not see. And I'm good with it. And I say that from the bottom of my heart, because a lot of times I don't want to do it.
What you want to do?
I don't want to do what they want to do. I'm not a fan of. So I live.
You have babies. You're here for babies.
Right. I don't-
Our kids are grown. We're
Yeah.
not in the same place.
And also, I don't want to do.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't want to do
Is it meeting new people?
The aquarium.
Is that a thing? Is that like a not anxiety, but it's like I'm kind of reluctant?
You don't
Because
want
it's
to
like in your 40s, it's like, do I want new friends?
It's the
I feel like
comfortability.
it's because
You know?
it's been a distance, and I think we don't want to really encounter the awkwardness. I
Yeah.
think, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
Still figuring it out.
But even in the times like when they come, I find myself, I feel a way, and then if I'm in town,
Right.
I don't say nothing either.
Wow.
Because they probably
Almost
busy.
like a
And then it just keep building.
creative
Building.
tension.
Right.
Yeah.
That shouldn't have never been created.
not even
There's
really
no
there.
tension.
Unless I just be like, yo, you here? Well, I could easily be like, hey, I see you was downtown, let's get up.
Yeah.
Come
But
over
it
here for
takes-
breakfast.
That takes intentionality
Right.
and energy.
It does take
it does.
some-
Hey, so look,
I be already mad that you didn't tell me you was coming. So then I ain't about to be like, I'm like, dang, you came into this in my
Man,
head.
say
I would
nothing
say-
to me.
I would, you know what I mean? And it's not like we're not close enough for me to exchange to them that way.
Right.
What are you doing here?
Right.
And you
Oh,
ain't
you ain't
Right.
calling me.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not
Yeah.
even like it's so distant where I just like, dang, I don't know you no more. But it's like,
that's crazy.
I feel a way that you're here and you didn't tell
You
me.
ain't say nothing to me.
Or
That's real.
and you guys tell me. I'm gonna put it out there, and you guys just tell me what you think, right? So, I grew up. When I say grew up in New York, remember, I left when I was like 6 years old.
Yeah.
Right.
So from birth to 6 years old, this dude lived right across the hall from me. His name's Chris Green. He recently moved down here to Georgia, right? And during the summer times when I would go back and visit, we would always, it's like, that's my best friend, that's Chris Green, it's me and Chris. His dad was a cop, he wanted to be a cop, I wanted to be a cop. It was deep, you know what I'm saying? We grew up like, well, till I was like 6 or 7, like brothers.
Right.
So one of the biggest days of my life when I got the proclamation,
Yeah, man.
he shows up.
Yeah, man.
And I'm like,
That was wild. Like, that was wild. When I saw that and you told me who that was, that was wild.
I'm like, Chris?
That was wild.
He's like, yo, what
That
up?
was crazy.
What up? I'm like, yo! But it was so awkward
Yeah.
because it's like,
I don't know.
what we supposed to do for
We're
him?
grown.
I don't know
You're a stranger.
I'm 40.
Yeah, it's just different, man.
Wow, that's a lot.
And now he's moved down here. He has a wife. He has a daughter in college and different things like that. And it's like, man, we inbox each other and different things like that, but we hadn't made the official thing. And I that's me. I've got to do better. But I think as I'm sitting here and I'm hearing you guys talk,
the union would
right?
make sense.
As I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you guys
Everybody's
talk,
invited.
Everybody's
invited. But it's like I'm listening to you guys talk, and I'm like, why hadn't I reached out?
Yeah.
Or why hadn't I been?
Comfortability. When you're living your life, and it's
your
like,
life.
and that's I think that's our problem. Especially me and him, because we think a lot alike in this way. It's like peace is everything. And when you bring new people in, even though their intentions are not bad, that peace is still disturbed in some way, shape, form,
There's
or
a
fashion.
ripple.
Yeah.
And I believe that's the reason why I'm reluctant about new people, because everything is so good right now. I don't want that to be disturbed. But I was telling Amy, and a part of my prayer every day in my prayer life is to change that about me. Because in order for me to accept what's coming with this, I have to be willing to accept everybody and everything that comes with it. So I'm understanding and knowing and realizing that part of me has to change.
Yeah.
I think it's better when it happens organically compared to, we're going to set this up. Hey, man, we're going to be intentional about doing this. So it's like,
no, I can't do that.
If it was something where
That's structure.
it was like an organic,
I don't do that.
and so from that standpoint, I understand that. Everything else, I don't know what the heck you talking about. But when it comes to that, it's like, I don't want to have, let's create I don't want to put you on a calendar and do it that way. If it's done that way, I'm tapping out.
If it's not intentional, then it's not going to happen because you will continue in the rhythm.
So I'm asking you guys, what is that?
I literally reached one of my friends that is one of my call her my covenant sister. We haven't spoken
Allegedly.
in a while. Whatever.
I'm kidding.
No, he's
Well,
not.
we haven't spoken in a while. But she's one of those people that I don't have to talk to.
Right.
I'm like that with everybody.
But I did the other day. I reached out like, "Yo, we need to
go.
Right.
Yeah.
Day. Are you available?"
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Instead of just letting it come around. Somehow. You know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna appear somehow.
It's never going to happen.
Has to be intentional,
Right.
And say, "Hey, are you free Sunday?" You know what I mean? Or tell me when you're free, so that we can, intentionally
connect,
get together, because life just be moving.
Well, I intentionally do that.
She does.
You intentionally do what?
Amy's
With
very
my
good.
friend.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, I
She schedules
intentionally.
time.
I schedule
She feeds
time
into her relationship.
Yeah, I feed into the relationships that I want. If I don't feed into it, I don't want it.
Right.
But you know what?
You know what I'm saying? Like
I
you
get
know
that.
that it's not.
Starving it for a reason.
Yeah. You get what I'm saying?
Like, it's really easy for me to be removed because I've built my life in the way that my playground is here at my house.
Right. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, I'm very entertained in my own
Yeah,
house.
yeah.
I
That's
don't have to go nowhere for a long time.
It's true.
Right.
Like,
He's
I'm
insulated.
straight. I got something to do in every room. So I have to really be intentional. I'll be like, yo, I probably should go outside today.
Yeah.
Get some vitamin D.
Yeah.
Let me go get some sunlight
Me
today.
and B the same way. Like, we talk about cigars and
Yeah.
you know what, we gonna link up and go get a cigar. Like, he's like, B's like, Jay, We live way too close to each other
Right.
to hang out. And I'm like, you're right. And neither one of us has made a move towards that yet.
Nobody has said anything. No, we right. We don't do it.
You're right. You right.
Jason
Is
does
the
not have
event
to
going to be
leave.
that way?
Yeah, Jason does not have to leave the house.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
me neither.
I'm sorry, but I have to leave the house. I'm like, the walls are closing in. I gotta go.
And she makes me
I'm
in
like,
turn. She makes me.
I gotta go.
I don't
leave
think the
too.
event will be that way.
No,
I think
no.
Because
Oh, the event is
we're
gonna be
coming
crazy.
on the same, like, we intentionally set our mind, like, this is about this. We be intentional about, like, what we want to do. You have something planned. It's not like we just sitting up here trying to organically connect. No, we're being intentional about
Right,
how
on
we're
what we're
gonna
planning.
But the way the relationships will
Dang.
flourish out of that will be organic. But we
Yeah.
have to be intentional about the time we set aside. Just like we do here. This, we
Yeah,
do
yeah,
this
yeah.
intentionally, but it's organic.
Yeah.
But what you just described is what our kids do.
What?
As far as, when I was describing me and Chris, why hadn't I reached out to him? Why hadn't I, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But our
The kids do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we just answered our own question.
Yeah, but you know what? When we came to Shane's game, Jaden surprised me. He was clapping and
Yeah, he was
everything.
Yeah.
But that's Jay. Like when you put him in an environment,
I guess
he's going to thrive in that environment.
Sports environment.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Sports
he thrives in any
When
environment.
we come to the house, they be like, "Yeah, y'all going to see Uncle Jay?" And then we go over there, and
then
then
everybody
be like sitting on the steps.
Sad.
and then-
She'll
Yeah.
take a whole nap at your
Yeah.
house.
Well, yeah, she go into my room
Yeah,
and take
that's
all
real.
that.
Like we
real.
in here kicking it, and
Yeah.
y'all are like, "Are y'all having?"
And that's why
That's because that's
were.
their environment.
But-
So Jay is going to do what he does in his environment.
Yeah.
Hey, you need to come with me.
We
and
may stay. Yeah, you come upstairs and
you
play
wanna
this
do.
game, or you
Right,
can stay
I'm
downstairs.
about to go outside and I'm about to go kick it over
Oh
here.
yeah, we about to ride
You
and walk
figure it
down
out.
here.
Right.
But
He do that with his
Jaden-
cousins.
But I wish they would. That's why we did the when they sing, dance. What is it
Oh,
called?
the talent shows.
That's what the Thanksgiving
That's
talent
Sharon
shows.
Coleman.
That's my
It's
mama.
Sharon's Coleman, but that's why we try to make it
talent
so
show.
they
That's
can.
dope.
She
Yeah.
doesn't. You're not gonna go
You're
to
not
an
gonna
event
go on
over there and
Thanksgiving
she's there,
and
And
you're
it's
not
not
gonna
going to
do
be a
that.
talent
It's
show.
going to be a talent show.
This is my mother's and auntie's brainchild.
And
Like,
they're
this
gonna,
is what they do.
and they're gonna big you up. It could be horrible.
Look, back in the day, it used to be for money.
and you don't have a choice.
Right. You didn't have a choice in the
I
matter.
be like, this is
And
horrible.
look, my mama used to make us practice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like it was, she had my grandmother hold me accountable. I'll never forget it. She was like, my grandmother said, I was like, Grandma, I'm about to get up out of here. She said, did you practice? Practice what? For the talent show. I said, no, I'm a phone it in. Don't worry about it. I think you need to practice.
When we do get together,
Yeah.
even now. But the thing is, when we get together, even now, when we put that charades on,
Yes.
everybody
Right,
playing.
gotta
that
play.
charade.
Yeah.
Everybody in game.
Right, that's right.
So all we
Yeah.
have to do,
You
Get
put the
rid of them
team
phones.
events
get the
together.
phones out
And
the
that
way.
the
could
phones
be
up.
a form of a family reunion.
That's it. That's what we call it. The
I love
FBC
it.
family.
We can. Everybody can buy an FBC shirt too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yo, so are we gonna invite the viewers as well to the FBC?
Like go
family
live
reunion?
doing it?
Like I'm talking about, man, we could get something and do it in the park and invite people to it for real.
That's
should
real.
We gotta invite the
definitely- We
audience.
should definitely set aside some time. I don't know. Would y'all come? Would y'all come?
Would y'all come to
that-
the big family reunion
To the big
FBC
family reunion.
or the big family
It'd be a
union?
good
Because for a lot
social
of them, it's
event.
not a reunion.
Yeah, it's not
No,
a
it's not.
reunion.
It's
It's
not.
just a union.
It's a union, the big family union.
Union.
Yeah, that'd be dope, man.
Yeah.
That's dope, y'all.
That'd be dope. I think we should most definitely work on it, put it in the book, put it on the
Yeah.
books,
Yeah.
put it together, and make it happen.
Yeah, man.
I know we just went on a tangent about nostalgia and back in the day we done talked about the what'd you call crawdaddies? Crawdads. We talked about chicken fight. We talked about our first fights. Her big wheel
Yeah,
when she papped the
Miss
little girl
Pac-Man.
out. Poor thing.
The
Miss Pac-Man, big wheel. Just growing up, man, cousins, but. I think the big thing to take away from it is just be intentional about family because we won't always be here. As soon as you're born, you start the process of dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're getting older.
Yeah.
And I would hate for our younger our kids to not be mindful of that early enough to enjoy these things.
Yeah.
And
I think-
understand family and what it means and what it's for.
Yeah.
Who's here for you? The real love. So, a lot of times they make friends family. And it was like, you ain't got to. You got a whole slew of cousins and family here. So just
You know what? I got to interject real quick, and I got a story because I was talking, and I just want to say this. I was talking to my son the other day about friendships because every friend isn't family,
right.
And one of the biggest things that I talked to him about, I said, and I brought you up, and I said, when I was growing up, and he speak about candidly about the things he did, and you know, smoking weed. I never smoked weed. That was never my thing. I always felt like I was an athlete, and I'm not. As an athlete, I'm not smoking.
Right.
Yeah.
That was my thing. Right. So with him, the reason I knew and I call him my brother, and he's my brother for real, is because there was never a time where he was doing something he knew was wrong, and he intentionally tried to bring me into it.
Right.
If he was smoking, he was not smoking around me. He wasn't trying to pass me the blunt or get me to smoke. If he was fighting or something was going on, he would say, "Hey Jay, this is what's going on. I don't need you. You don't have to be involved in this, but this is what's going on." And I'm like, "Hey, bro, let's ride." And that's how it was. Versus, I had certain friends that every chance they got, they smoking in the car. Right. I smell like smoke. It smell like I done smoked a pound of weed and I've never smoked a day in my life. Right. Or they're, "Hey man, hit this."
Making you susceptible to getting locked up.
Absolutely. They're putting me in harm's way. I say the difference between a friend and an associate is one would never want to see harm come to you versus one who could care less what happens.
I do bad here, so I don't want you here because what we have is sacred.
Exactly.
That's friendship.
So
and these kids don't know how to see that these days. So that's a good point.
Most definitely. I just wanted to close that out. That was on my heart, and I did speak. And if there are any kids that are listening and understand, know who your friends are for real, and know who are your associates. You have to learn how to distinguish the two.
In the court, out of court, holies are holies. Everybody don't need to be in your holies are holies. You can't understand that. I think the holies of holies is what you would consider that family by choice.
Right.
So, but with that, you're able to be vulnerable with them. You're able to have conflict and get through it with them. It's not that everything's going to be perfect, but they're there. You know, Brian, Jay, you know, Brian has gotten on my nerves several times, and I'm sure I've gotten on his. Same thing with Jay. Jay's a hole for the rest of his life, and you just accept that. But it's like,
first of all,
let me finish.
I'm not. No, we're not.
These are your words. I'm using your words.
But
I'm using your words.
I'm only a-holes to those that I love. Know that.
So that's the justification, and he's going to stay that way because he said that. That's the disclaimer. Anyway. What I'm saying is, he made me forget what I'm saying with that idiotic statement.
We wrapping it
up. The inner circle.
You're able to be vulnerable with people in your holies or holies. Find you friends that are going to propel you and not try to, have this misery love company type thing.
And love you enough to challenge you to be a better version of yourself.
Yes.
Not try to demean you. So, we're family by choice. We have chosen to be connected, to ride this journey of life together, and to explore becoming better versions of ourselves. We're expanding our families.
That's
and
what it is.
Leaving legacies for our children, but we chose to do it together. So get you your family. Join our family.
That's it. Join the family, man.
We're going to do a barbecue.
We definitely.
Anyway, FBC, we out. Love y'all.